My name is Chipo Malenga.
I'm Zachary Obeid.
Gonzalo Aceves.
And as for today, we're going to talk about the Hunger Network itself, specifically here on our campus, the situation, the specific audiences, the objectives, and then also the tactics, our calendar, and the set budget, evaluations, and any questions that any of you may have. So generating awareness generally of hunger is a very difficult issue to do. So along with that, the University of Arizona, the students had an interview with the local news, and this is what they came up with and had to say about the reality and truth of this issue.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Hillary Cavazos. The starving college student stereotype is often joked about, days of surviving on mac and cheese. But the harsh reality is sky-high tuition forces some students to choose between books and their next meal. 9 on your sides, Alexis Fernandez spoke to a group of students reaching out to help. Alexis?
Well, Valerie, we all remember our struggling college days of ramen noodle, cup noodles, and even chicken pot pie until our next payday. But there are some students who don't even have that. It's not something you likely think about while you walk on the U of A campus. Hungry students. No, not the ones who survive on ramen noodles or frozen pizzas, but true hidden hunger. A reality Tyler Gallant, a student, says is out there.
If you're a student, you don't want to tell somebody that you're hungry. Can you get some food? It'd be really kind of embarrassing to have to admit that to, especially like your friends or your buddies.
He says because of crushing tuition costs, part-time jobs, and books, food can become last priority.
I have to make sure I leave a certain amount of money out of my student loans to make sure I have enough to eat and I pay rent and everything. So I guess it's helping me learn how to budget better, but at the same time it'd be easier if it wasn't so expensive.
A worry many colleges are trying to take off students' plates with the help of food pantries on campus. The U of A is filling the need with the UA Campus Pantry, a student-run club.
Everyone came together and discussed it. They felt like they knew people that were having those issues.
Marielle Wolk is one of the board of directors with the pantry. At their first event this month, 10 students showed up.
And we don't want to be an unwelcoming experience, and to be ashamed of it. And we're here to help. That's why we're here. So we want them to come in.
All you need is...
So looking at this video, I know you noticed in the beginning she had said it's a stereotype that many will say there's hunger on campus, but this is a very big issue that we have on our campus as well. As you had noticed, it's very hard for someone to just say, I'm hungry, I don't have food. So along with the video and information we had in there, we had come across a survey that was done here on campus by Dr. Sneeznik, and she had done it with over 500 students, and these were some of the facts that were found in that. 44% of students skip a meal due to lack of money, and this happens more than anyone can think, and 29% of them borrowed money just to be able to pay for the food that they can afford at that particular time. And then 34% could not even afford healthier food options due to the lack of money. And as we have noticed, healthy food can tend to be pretty expensive. So of course, if you don't have enough money, you're not going to be able to afford that option. So this continues to grow as time goes by. That's why we feel it's an awareness that needs to be brought out to all our students and faculty as well.
Okay, so what we did is we went to the Student Learning Service Center, and I found a poster outside, and it talked about how to create a food pantry for the Samaritans here in town in Turlock. When we went there, we did an interview with the lady that was running the service, and she directed us to the Sociology department, and that's where we met Dr. Sneezek, and she told us her story. So during the interview, we listened to her story, we did a personal interview, and we got more information out of it. We found that here on campus there are hungry students, and most students here are hungry at Stanislaus, and it is a big issue, and it hasn't been has any awareness yet to it. Listening to her interview, we decided to do a public relations campaign on it. We picked out 3 things that we saw that were the situation here on campus. So the situation was, due to bureaucracy, you needed a referral system. There was only 2 referral systems on campus. Students had to go to the mental health service or the health service center to get referred to go to the pantry to actually receive food if they were hungry. Another issue that we found is that the sociology department, their club, during the end of the semester, they are students. So they would always be involved with their finals and group projects, and so we would have not enough volunteers to work that pantry and keep it running at the end of the semester. And our lastly that we found, although here on campus, students are willing to donate to the pantry, there's no issue on campus with donations, to get donations. The issue that we're having is that outside of campus in the Turlock area, we only have one sponsor that is donating of grocery stores, which was Rayleigh's in town. So the issue was grocery participation, because as we see in the video we saw earlier, there's the perception is that students aren't hungry, that if you can afford to go to college, you're not going to go hungry. So those were the three things that we picked out of our interview and our public relations campaign is going to discuss. So our audience, of course, we're going to move on to that. It's a mixed target audience. Of course, we are focusing on CSU Stanislaus staff and students. So, of course, our main goal is to focus on students because they're the ones that are hungry. And again, we're going to focus on the grocery stores in the Turlock area. That's a specific audience that we want to focus on. So, and the Turlock residents that shop there, so we can get their participation. Our secondary audience, however, would be anybody from the surrounding areas. If there's anybody coming from Modesto, Patterson, Gustine, from the Livermore to Denair, anybody that's coming to the area that's going to shop at a participating grocery store because they are able to donate. So that will be our secondary audience that we are targeting. So I'm going to go over our objectives. So this is our 1, 2, 3 objectives as we see on our board. Our first objective, of course, was one of our things that we pulled out earlier. We want to increase the referral system by 2 channels by April 4th of the spring of 2014 semester. And then we want to do our second objective is to maintain a labor force for the pantry of 8 to 10 people during the spring semester of 2014. We chose 8 to 10 people because that is the maximum and the most efficient way to run the pantry at the end of the semester. You don't need more, you don't need less. And then to increase grocery store participation, of course, here in the Turlock region by 2 locations by February 20th. So our strategy, how are we going to effectively run this? So our strategy number 1 goes with our objective that it's number 1. So for our first objective, we want to engage various publics of CSU Stanislaus campus into the referral system. So we want to engage them. For our second strategy, goes with our second objective, to engage 2 audiences of students and administration in the pantry drive. And then, of course, our third strategy goes with our third objective, which is to engage 2 audiences, grocery store managers and their consumers, to donate canned foods. How are we going to effectively run this strategy? Well, we're going to use our tactics. So tactic number 1 goes with strategy number 1. So we're going to engage campus instructors. We're going to engage them to get them aware, to get them understanding. Of course, campus instructors, when they come to class, they have 30 students in their class. They see multiple students from freshmen, seniors, to super seniors, to juniors, to sophomores. So they can engage that public really easily. Our second tactic for our second strategy is we're going to focus on our audience, our students, and we're going to send mass emails to students about the program. We want you guys to understand that the program is aware, the program is here for students, and the reason why we want to send a mass email is because it's more personable. It's your personal email. You're willing to read it, and it's not somebody telling you you're hungry, and maybe you'll be in denial and say, no, I'm not hungry, and that is why the email is effective. Our third tactic that goes with our third strategy is our audience, is our grocery store managers. We want to communicate with the grocery store managers because they're the ones that can give us donations. They're the ones that can approve it or deny it. They're the ones that are allowed to set up in front of their store so we can have consumers donate to us if they don't want to donate directly. And that's why we chose that as our tactic. Gonzalo will continue with the calendar and timetable.
We handed out a calendar. If you want to follow, I'm going to start with the first objective and explain to you the dates that they will be running during the spring semester.
And the calendar is on the first page.
Thank you.
Sorry.
To engage the campus instructors, we're going to start January 20th, and it's going to run through the 23rd. This will consist of an informative email to instructors, followed by a reminder and a thank you at the end of the semester. Next, we'll be engaging the tutoring center. These are specifics to the first objective that we mentioned, which will be meeting with the director of the tutoring center January 20th, and continue to post information in the Math and Science Drop-In Center until February 20th. For the continuing on the first objective, will be engaging the Science Center. It's in the Aragi Hall, and it's called the Commons. The Commons is an area where science students can go and get assistance from volunteer science instructors. We will meet with the volunteer science instructors and post a referral system between January 27th and February 14th. To engage the administrative, we will inform them through the email that we mentioned earlier, but more specific to the academic counselors, because they tend to become in contact at least once in various departments throughout the college. We will also try to meet with them to show them statistical evidence of the need. For objective number 2, we will maintain the labor force. We will engage the student audience and administrative audience, both between January 20th and May 23rd. It'll be electronic through emails, sending them informative about the program and how to volunteer, and in the middle, one that may engage them in an emotional appeal to the program. For objective number 3, will consist of targeting the audiences, the two audiences that we have, which are the store managers. Will run through January 20th until May 23rd. We will attempt to have the Sociology Club visit about 80% of the grocery stores and try to get to meet with the managers and show them evidence of our findings about the hunger need, to have them either donate directly to us or have us be outside of their store and be able to have a food drive from their different audiences that might be in the shopping center. For the audience of the consumers, we will create a script to explain to them quicker than one would to the manager, to give them a quick synopsis of the situation on campus. If you flip to the second page, it is the budget. If we look at the right-hand side, we can see the volunteer hours needed, the volunteer staff value, and the out-of-pocket. That's a detail itemized for each one of the costs. But let's go to the bottom, where the overall budget is of $2,800, with a contingency of 10%. Being $280. The out-of-pocket overall cost would be $650. The volunteer worth is $1,812. If for any reason the Sociology Club is not able to do the various tasks that I mentioned earlier, we have given a value allotted to hire people at the needed hourly time consumption during the calendar, which amounts to $1,812. If all volunteer work is done, that money will be, that balance will be spent for food, for the pantry. We're going to move on to how we evaluated our objectives. For objective 1, to increase the referral system by 2, one method would be to ask participating students who they were referred to, and if more than 2 channels above the existing ones are counted, then our objective will have been met. If we move to the second objective for the labor force pantry, is to maintain an 8 to 10 volunteers during the whole semester. The critical point is during the end of the semester. So during April and May, we will count the amount of volunteers, and it shall not fall under 8. This way we will know that our objective was met. For objective number 3, to increase grocery store public participation by 2, we will count the participating locations and have them exceed 2 more than the existing 1 Rayleigh's by March 31st. Now, to reiterate our situation, let's review the problem. The problem is that there's only 2 channels to get referrals by students. So the solution to that is to increase the amount of channels. For the next problem is that there's not enough volunteers, and the solution to that we came up with is to engage more students and administration. For the last problem is that there's not enough participation from the grocery stores and their publics. The solution to that is to increase the amount of locations in participating for the food can drive.
Perfect. That concludes our presentation. Of course, hopefully we addressed all the issues and answered all your questions. But if you guys do have any questions, we're willing to take some right now.
Please.
Good.